Welcome, dear traveler, to a journey through time and thought, a gentle exploration of dreams and the wisdom of ages past. Tonight we begin in the warm glow of ancient Greece, where philosophers in flowing robes walked beneath olive trees, pondering the mysteries of the sleeping mind. Close your eyes now and let yourself drift back more than 2,000 years, to a time when dreams were not yet fully understood, but deeply contemplated, deeply honored, deeply studied by some of humanity's greatest thinkers. We begin with Aristotle, the philosopher who sought to understand everything in the natural world, including the strange and beautiful visions that visit us each night when we surrender to sleep. Aristotle was a student of Plato, and he walked the marble halls of the Academy in Athens, where sunlight filtered through columns and the air smelled of herbs and Mediterranean breezes. He was a man of infinite curiosity, observing nature with patient attention. The flight of birds, the growth of plants, the movement of stars across the night sky. And he turned this same gentle, systematic attention to dreams. In his treatise on dreams, written in careful Greek script on papyrus scrolls, Aristotle proposed that dreams were not messages from the gods, as many of his contemporaries believed, but natural phenomena, echoes of our waking experiences. Reflections of sensations that linger in the mind even as the body rests. Imagine him now, sitting in his study as the sun sets over Athens, the golden light fading to deep blue, thinking quietly about the nature of sleep and dreams. He understood that during sleep our external senses quiet down, becoming still and peaceful, and in that stillness, internal sensations rise to the surface of consciousness like bubbles rising through calm water. A sound heard during the day might echo in a dream. An image glimpsed briefly might return transformed. The warmth of the sun or the coolness of night air might weave itself into the fabric of our sleeping visions. Aristotle saw dreams as part of the natural order, as predictable and understandable as the tides or the seasons. This rational, gentle approach brought comfort. It suggested that dreams were not chaotic or frightening, but simply another aspect of our human experience, worthy of patient observation and thoughtful study. As you rest here now, breathing slowly and deeply, you too can appreciate this ancient wisdom. The understanding that dreams are natural, that they connect to our waking life in subtle and mysterious ways, and that they have been pondered by wise minds for thousands of years. Let yourself settle into this knowledge, feeling the weight of history and thought supporting you like a soft pillow as we continue our gentle journey into the philosophy of dreams. Aristotle's approach to dreams was revolutionary in its simplicity and gentleness. While others sought supernatural explanations, he looked to nature itself. In his work on prophetic dreams, he addressed a question that fascinated the ancient world. Can dreams predict the future? Many believed they could, that the gods sent visions of things to come, warnings and prophecies wrapped in symbols and strange narratives. But Aristotle, ever the careful observer, suggested something different. He proposed that some dreams might seem prophetic, simply because they influence our actions when we wake. If you dream of meeting a friend, you might unconsciously seek them out the next day, making the dream appear to have foretold the future. Other times, he thought, dreams might be coincidences, or they might arise from subtle bodily sensations that hint at illness before we consciously recognize symptoms. A feverish dream might precede sickness because the body knows before the waking mind does. This was a compassionate way of understanding dreams. It honored people's experiences while also seeking natural explanations, grounded in observation and reason. Aristotle believed that during sleep, when the louder voices of our senses grow quiet, we become aware of fainter impressions, the gentle whisper of blood moving through our veins, the quiet work of digestion, the subtle shifts in temperature and position. These sensations, normally drowned out by the busy activity of waking life, can rise up in dreams, transformed into vivid images and stories. He wrote of dreams as movements in the soul, delicate stirrings that persist from our waking hours, like ripples continuing long after a stone has been thrown into a still pond. The image is beautiful and calming, your mind like a peaceful body of water, and dreams the gentle ripples that play across its surface. As you breathe slowly now, in and out, imagine your consciousness becoming like that still pond at twilight, reflecting the first stars in a darkening sky. The activities of your day create impressions, and these impressions move through your mind like soft waves, gradually settling into the patterns we call dreams. Aristotle understood that sleep is a natural state, a necessary rest for the body and mind, and dreams are part of this restorative process. They are not intrusions or disruptions, but natural companions to sleep, arising from the same biological and psychological processes that sustain life. This understanding invites us to view our own dreams with curiosity rather than fear, with interest rather than anxiety. They are simply part of being human, part of the rhythm of waking and sleeping that has continued unchanged for thousands of years. As you rest now, you are participating in this ancient rhythm, experiencing what Aristotle experienced, what every human has experienced, the gentle transition from waking thought to sleeping dreams, from active engagement with the world to peaceful inner reflection. Before Aristotle, there was Plato, his teacher, whose thoughts on dreams were different but equally fascinating. Plato appears to us across the centuries as a figure of profound wisdom, founding the academy in Athens where students gathered to discuss truth, beauty, justice, and the nature of reality itself. In his dialogue called The Republic, Plato wrote about dreams in a way that acknowledged their darker possibilities. He suggested that in dreams, when reason sleeps and rational control loosens, our hidden desires might emerge. The wild, untamed part of the soul might express itself in dreams, he thought, showing us impulses and wishes that we carefully control during waking hours. This idea would echo through the centuries, eventually influencing Freud more than 2,000 years later. But for now, in ancient Athens, this was simply one philosopher's gentle observation about human nature. That we contain multitudes, that we are complex beings with both rational and irrational elements, and dreams might reveal this complexity. Plato also believed in a higher reality beyond the physical world, a realm of perfect forms and eternal truths, and he thought that sometimes in special circumstances, the soul might touch this higher realm during sleep, receiving genuine insights or visions. This more mystical view of dreams coexisted with Aristotle's naturalistic approach, and both perspectives have continued to influence how we think about dreams ever since. Let yourself appreciate this richness of thought. These ancient minds grappling with the same mysteries you experience each night, offering different perspectives, different ways of understanding the strange gift of dreams. In the same period, Hippocrates, known as the father of medicine, also considered dreams carefully. He believed that some dreams reflected the state of the body, offering diagnostic clues about health and illness. A dream of fire might indicate fever, he thought. A dream of floods might suggest an imbalance of fluids in the body. This medical approach to dreams was gentle and practical, treating dreams as useful information rather than supernatural messages or psychological puzzles. Hippocrates walked through the ancient world, healing the sick with careful observation, herbal remedies, and a holistic understanding of health that included diet, exercise, rest, and mental state. He saw dreams as part of this whole picture, another source of information about the patient's condition. Imagine the ancient Greek physician sitting beside a patient's bed in the soft lamplight, asking gently, "Tell me, what did you dream last night?" and listening thoughtfully to the answer, considering what it might reveal about the body's inner workings. This tradition of paying attention to dreams, of honoring them as meaningful, created a foundation that would support centuries of dream exploration. As you lie here resting, your own body is engaged in its ancient work of healing and restoration, the same processes that Hippocrates observed and Aristotle contemplated, unchanged across millennia. In the broader ancient world beyond Greece, dreams held important places in culture and religion. In the temples of Asclepius, the Greek god of healing, people practiced what was called incubation. They would come to the temple seeking healing, perform purification rituals, make offerings, and then sleep in a special chamber called the abaton, hoping that the god would visit them in dreams and either heal them directly or provide guidance about treatment. These temples were peaceful places, often located in beautiful settings with natural springs, groves of trees, and fresh air. The priests would prepare visitors for their sacred sleep, creating an atmosphere of calm expectation and spiritual openness. When morning came, the dreamers would report their visions to the priests, who would interpret them and suggest treatments. This practice blended medicine, religion, and psychology in a way that modern minds might find difficult to categorize, but which clearly brought comfort and sometimes healing to countless people across the ancient Mediterranean world. The temples of Asclepius were found throughout Greece and later the Roman Empire, testifying to the power of dreams in ancient healing traditions. We can imagine these seekers, traveling from far away, weary from illness or injury, arriving at the temple with hope in their hearts. They would bathe in sacred springs, the cool water washing away the dust of travel and perhaps some of their worries. They would rest in the peaceful gardens, listening to birds and the rustle of leaves. And then as night fell, they would enter the sleeping chamber, lie down on simple beds, and wait for the god to come to them in dreams. Whether what they experienced was divine intervention, the power of suggestion, the body's natural healing enhanced by rest and hope, or some combination we cannot fully understand, it worked for many of them. They left the temples restored, carrying with them dream visions that had offered comfort, guidance, or healing. This tradition teaches us something important about dreams, that the context in which we sleep matters, that our expectations and beliefs shape our dream experiences, and that dreams have always been intimately connected with healing and well-being. As you rest now, you might appreciate that you too are engaged in a kind of sacred sleep, a time when your conscious mind steps aside and allows deeper processes to unfold. You don't need a temple or special rituals, simply this quiet moment, this willingness to let go, this trust in the natural healing power of sleep and dreams. Your body knows how to do this ancient work. Your mind knows how to dream. You are connected to every person who has ever closed their eyes and drifted into sleep, across all the centuries, across all the cultures, all participating in this universal human experience. As we complete this first gentle chapter of our journey through the philosophy of dreams, let us rest for a moment in the wisdom we have gathered from ancient Greece. We have walked with Aristotle through his rational, observant approach to dreams, seeing them as natural phenomena, echoes of waking sensations, movements in the soul that arise from the day's experiences. We have listened to Plato's acknowledgement of dreams as windows into the hidden parts of ourselves, and his belief that sometimes the soul might touch higher truths during sleep. We have sat with Hippocrates, considering dreams as reflections of the body's state, useful guides to health and healing, and we have visited the sacred temples where ancient seekers slept in hope of healing dreams. All of these perspectives have value. All of them recognize that dreams are important, meaningful, worthy of attention and respect. The ancient Greeks did not dismiss dreams as meaningless noise or random brain activity. They studied dreams, contemplated them, sought to understand them, and used them for healing and self-knowledge. This respectful attention to dreams is perhaps their greatest gift to us. In our modern world, we sometimes rush past our dreams, forgetting them as soon as we wake, dismissing them as irrelevant. But the ancient philosophers invite us to pause, to remember, to consider what our dreams might be telling us about our bodies, our minds, our experiences, our inner lives. As you continue to rest here, breathing slowly and peacefully, you can carry this ancient wisdom with you into your own sleep. Your dreams are natural. They are connected to your waking life in subtle ways. They may reflect your body's state, your hidden thoughts, your day's experiences transformed into images and stories. They are part of being human, part of the rhythm of life that has continued unchanged since Aristotle walked beneath the olive trees of Athens. Let yourself sink deeper now into comfort and rest. The ancient philosophers have walked before you on this path of sleep and dreams. Their wisdom surrounds you like a gentle presence, reassuring you that dreams are safe, natural, and meaningful. As the night deepens and your consciousness begins to drift, you are following in the footsteps of countless humans across thousands of years, all surrendering to sleep, all opening themselves to dreams. Rest now in this ancient tradition. Let go of the day. Let your mind become like Aristotle's still pond, reflecting the stars, allowing gentle ripples of thought and image to move across its surface. Your sleep is natural. Your dreams are natural. And you are safe here, supported by the wisdom of ages, drifting peacefully into your own night of rest and renewal. Sleep well, gentle traveler. The philosophers watch over your rest, and tomorrow we will continue our journey together through the fascinating history of dreams and their meaning. As we drift forward through time, leaving the sunlit columns of ancient Greece behind us, we enter a quieter, more contemplative world. The world of medieval monasteries and cloistered halls, where candlelight flickers against stone walls and the night is filled with prayer and silence. Here, in these sacred spaces, dreams took on new meaning, becoming not merely echoes of daily sensation as Aristotle believed, but something more profound, something divine. The philosophers of the Middle Ages lived in a world where heaven and earth touched, where the soul's journey was the greatest concern, and where sleep itself became a threshold between the mortal and the eternal. In the early centuries after the classical age, as Christianity spread across the lands once ruled by Rome, thinkers began to weave together the rational philosophy of Greece with the spiritual teachings of their faith. Dreams, they believed, could be messages. Whispers from God, warnings from angels, or sometimes temptations from darker forces. Saint Augustine of Hippo, writing in the 4th and 5th centuries, contemplated deeply the nature of dreams in his Confessions and other works. Augustine wondered, when we dream, where does our consciousness go? What part of us wanders in that strange country of sleep? He understood dreams as images created by the soul, but images that could sometimes be touched by divine inspiration. Augustine himself experienced meaningful dreams throughout his life, and he recognized that in sleep, the boundaries of the self become porous, uncertain. He wrote of how in dreams we might do things we would never do while awake, and yet we are not responsible for these dream actions, for our will is suspended, our rational mind at rest. This was a gentle insight, a kind understanding that in sleep we are vulnerable, open, not fully in control. And yet, he also believed that God could speak through dreams, as he had spoken to Joseph in the Bible, to Daniel, to so many prophets and saints. Dreams became, in Augustine's thought, a mysterious territory where human and divine could meet. As you rest here now, breathing slowly and steadily, you can imagine yourself in such a monastery cell. Simple stone walls, a small window through which moonlight falls in a silver rectangle upon the floor. The distant sound of bells marking the hours of prayer, and everywhere, a sense of peace, of withdrawal from the world's noise and hurry. In this space, dreams were honored, recorded, contemplated. The monks would sometimes wake in the night to pray, and in those quiet hours between sleep and waking, they felt closest to the sacred mysteries. Centuries pass gently as we rest here, and we come to another great thinker, Thomas Aquinas, the Dominican friar who lived in the 13th century, whose vast mind sought to reconcile all human knowledge with divine truth. Aquinas, in his methodical way, addressed the question of dreams in his great work, the Summa Theologica. He asked, can we gain true knowledge through dreams? Are dreams part of God's providence? And in his careful distinctions, he recognized different types of dreams, some caused by bodily conditions, some by the day's thoughts lingering in the mind, and some, yes, that could be inspired by higher powers, whether divine or demonic. Aquinas did not dismiss dreams as meaningless, but neither did he grant them absolute authority. He understood that discernment was needed, wisdom to tell which dreams came from indigestion and which might carry genuine insight. This balanced view, neither too credulous nor too dismissive, created space for dreams to be taken seriously within the framework of medieval thought. Dreams were part of the soul's experience, and the soul, being the form of the body and the breath of God within us, could indeed receive impressions from beyond the material world. Let yourself sink deeper now into this medieval understanding, where dreams are gentle messengers, where sleep is not an absence, but a presence, where the night watch continues, and angels might whisper truths we need to hear. You are safe in this ancient wisdom, held by centuries of contemplation, drifting peacefully as we continue our journey through time and thought. As we rest in this gentle flow of history, moving like a slow river through time, we come to understand how deeply the medieval world cherished the symbolic nature of dreams. This was an age of allegory, where everything visible pointed to something invisible, where a rose was never merely a rose, but could represent divine love, or the Virgin Mary, or the unfolding soul. In such a world, dreams naturally became rich texts to be read, interpreted, decoded with care and reverence. Monastic libraries held dream books, guides to interpretation that had been copied and recopied through generations. These were not so different in spirit from the ancient Greek and Egyptian dream manuals, but they were filtered through Christian understanding. To dream of climbing a ladder might mean spiritual ascent. To dream of a garden could signify paradise or the soul's cultivation. To dream of water might represent baptism, cleansing, or the waters of life. Each symbol carried layers of meaning, and the skilled interpreter, often a learned monk or abbess, would consider the dreamer's life, their spiritual state, the context of the dream, before offering insight. There was a gentleness in this approach, a recognition that dreams speak in their own language, a language of image and emotion rather than logic and clarity. The medieval thinkers understood that we cannot command dreams to be straightforward. We must meet them on their own terms, with patience and imagination. This is still wise counsel for us today as we prepare for our own night's dreaming. We need not grasp or control our dreams. We can simply receive them like gifts of uncertain meaning and trust that in time their significance may reveal itself. Breathe deeply now, letting your breath be slow and natural, like the rhythm of those ancient monastery bells that mark the passing hours, in and out, peaceful and steady. The medieval world moves around you like a soft tapestry, rich with color and meaning. Gold leaf gleams on manuscript pages, stained glass glows with ruby and sapphire and emerald light, incense drifts through dim chapels, and everywhere the sense that the visible and invisible worlds are close together, separated by the thinnest of veils. We drift forward now, gently into the Renaissance, that extraordinary flowering of art and learning that began in Italy and spread across Europe. The Renaissance, meaning rebirth, was a time when scholars rediscovered ancient texts, when artists achieved new mastery of perspective and human form, when exploration opened new worlds across distant oceans. Yet even in this age of humanism and discovery, dreams retain their mystery and importance. Marsilio Ficino, the brilliant Florentine philosopher and translator who lived in the 15th century, was deeply interested in dreams. Ficino brought Plato's works back into Western consciousness, translating the Symposium and other dialogues from Greek into Latin, making them available to Renaissance readers. He also translated mystical texts attributed to Hermes Trismegistus, ancient wisdom that spoke of correspondence between the human soul and the cosmos. For Ficino, dreams were moments when the soul, freed from the body's constraints, could ascend toward divine beauty and truth. He saw dreaming as a kind of practice, a rehearsal for the soul's eventual liberation from material existence. Ficino suffered from melancholy, what we might today call depression, and he wrote about how dreams could both reflect and transform our inner states. He believed in the power of beauty, music, and contemplation to heal the spirit, and he understood dreams as part of this therapeutic landscape. In sleep, the soul could find restoration, could touch the harmonies of the spheres, could remember its divine origin. This Renaissance vision of dreams is both mystical and humanistic, honoring both the soul's transcendent potential and its very human need for comfort and healing. Let this vision support you now. The idea that in your dreams tonight, you might touch something beautiful, something that restores and renews you. There is no effort required, no striving. Simply allow yourself to rest, to release, to trust the wisdom of sleep. The Renaissance philosophers believed in the dignity and potential of every human being, and that includes you, here, now, worthy of rest, deserving of peace. As the Renaissance unfolds around us in gentle waves of discovery and artistry, other thinkers also contemplated the mystery of dreams. Paracelsus, the unconventional physician and alchemist, proposed that dreams could reveal hidden illnesses, that the body's wisdom might express itself in symbolic form during sleep. This was a bridge between the spiritual interpretation of medieval thought and the more psychological understanding that would come later. Dreams, for Paracelsus, were neither purely divine messages nor mere nonsense, but rather expressions of the whole person, body, soul, and spirit intertwined. Rest here in this richness, in this accumulated wisdom of centuries. You need not understand everything, need not remember every name or concept. Let the words wash over you like gentle waves, soothing and rhythmic, carrying you deeper into relaxation, into peace, into the threshold of your own dreams. We continue our peaceful journey now, drifting through this fascinating period when old and new ways of thinking intertwined like threads in an intricate tapestry. The 16th and 17th centuries saw tremendous change. The Protestant Reformation challenged religious authority, the printing press spread ideas with unprecedented speed, scientific observation began to reveal nature's mechanisms. Yet, in the midst of all this transformation, dreams remained an enduring mystery, a nightly reminder that human experience cannot be entirely mapped or explained. Different traditions of dream interpretation flourished during this era. In the courts of Europe, astrologers and scholars might be consulted about significant dreams experienced by nobles and monarchs. A king's dream could be seen as carrying political weight, perhaps foretelling the kingdom's fortune or warning of dangers ahead. These interpretations drew on classical sources, on medieval Christian symbolism, on astrological correspondences that linked planetary influences to human fate. There was an art to this interpretation, a skillful weaving together of knowledge, intuition, and diplomatic tact. Meanwhile, in the Jewish tradition, the mystical teachings of Kabbalah offered their own rich understanding of dreams. The Zohar, that foundational text of Jewish mysticism, taught that dreams are 1/60th of prophecy, that they emanate from different spiritual levels, and that a dream uninterpreted is like a letter unread. The Kabbalists understood that the symbols and narratives of dreams could contain both higher and lower elements, both holy sparks and confused fragments, and that wise interpretation could help elevate the dreamer's consciousness. This tradition emphasized that how we interpret a dream can actually influence its effects in our lives, a powerful idea that gives us agency in relationship to our dreams. Breathe with me now, slowly and deeply, as we absorb these different perspectives, these various ways that human beings have honored the mystery of dreaming. Each tradition offers its own wisdom, its own way of listening to the night's messages. You need not choose one or reject another. You can simply rest in the knowledge that for thousands of years, across many cultures, people have recognized that dreams matter, that they carry meaning, that they deserve our attention and respect. In Islamic tradition too, dreams held great importance. The Prophet Muhammad was said to have received revelations in dreams, and Islamic scholars developed elaborate classifications of dreams. True dreams that come from God, dreams from one's own desires and concerns, and dreams inspired by darker forces. The true dream was considered a form of divine guidance, a gift to be grateful for and to be interpreted with care, often consulting those with learning and spiritual insight. This tradition, like others we have encountered, recognizes different sources and qualities of dreams, acknowledging complexity rather than reducing all dreams to a single explanation. As we rest here together, you might notice how your body has become heavier, more relaxed, sinking deeper into comfort and ease. This is natural, this is good. You are safe here in this gentle exploration of ideas, these soft philosophical waters that support you like a warm bath. The thinkers we encounter are not demanding or harsh. They are guides, companions, wise friends who have contemplated the same mysteries that we all face in the quiet hours of night. The Renaissance and early modern period also saw the beginnings of skepticism about dream interpretation. Some philosophers and physicians began to argue that most dreams were simply the result of digestion, of the body's humors being imbalanced, of random memories surfacing without particular significance. This more naturalistic view didn't entirely replace the spiritual and symbolic interpretations, but it created a tension, a conversation between different ways of understanding. This tension would continue into the modern era, eventually leading to new syntheses, new ways of honoring both the physiological and the psychological dimensions of dreaming. Yet even the skeptics could not entirely dismiss the felt importance of dreams. Anyone who has woken from a vivid dream knows that it can carry emotional weight, can linger through the day, can seem to reveal something true, even if we cannot say exactly what. The philosopher Michel de Montaigne, writing in the late 16th century, reflected with characteristic honesty on his own experience of dreams. He noted how in dreams we can feel intense emotions, how the dream world has its own reality while we are in it, how difficult it is sometimes to be certain whether we are dreaming or awake. These observations would echo through philosophy for centuries to come. Let Montaigne's honest wondering be a comfort to you. The recognition that we don't have all the answers, that mystery remains, and that this is perfectly all right. You don't need to solve the riddle of dreams tonight. You need only to rest, to allow sleep to come in its own time, to trust the ancient process that has sustained human beings since the beginning. Dreams will come or not come, will be remembered or forgotten, and all will be well. You are held by wisdom older than any individual thinker, held by the natural rhythm of day and night, waking and sleeping, consciousness and dreams. As we move deeper into this restful exploration, allowing the centuries to drift past like slow clouds across a twilight sky, we begin to notice a gradual shift in how dreams were understood. The age we're gently floating through, from medieval monasteries through Renaissance courts into the early modern world, represents a long transition, a bridge between ancient wisdom and modern psychology, between seeing dreams primarily as external messages and beginning to understand them as expressions of our inner life. This transition was not sudden or complete. People continued to experience dreams as meaningful, continued to wonder about their significance, continued to tell their dreams to others, and seek understanding. But the framework for interpretation was slowly changing, becoming more personal, more psychological, even as spiritual and symbolic meanings remained important for many. This is the way with human thought. New ideas don't simply replace old ones, but layer over them, mingle with them, create new combinations and possibilities. In this transitional time, we find fascinating figures who bridge different worlds of thought. Robert Burton, who published his massive work, The Anatomy of Melancholy, in 1621, devoted considerable attention to dreams as they related to mental states and emotional well-being. Burton was a scholar, a clergyman, and someone who struggled with melancholy himself, and his encyclopedic book gathered together wisdom from classical, medieval, and contemporary sources. He understood dreams as connected to the body's humors, to diet and digestion, to grief and worry and hope. His approach was compassionate, recognizing that disturbed dreams might indicate a troubled mind in need of care and treatment. Breathe gently with this idea. The notion that dreams can reflect our well-being, that troubled dreams might be calling us to pay attention to our needs, to take better care of ourselves. This is not a harsh judgment, but a kind observation, a reminder that we deserve care and attention, that our inner life matters. Burton's great book, for all its length and learning, ultimately conveys a message of compassion toward human suffering and human complexity. We are intricate beings, affected by body and soul, by what we eat and what we think, by our relationships and our solitude. Dreams are part of this wholeness, this integration of all that we are. Rest now in this wholeness, this acceptance of your complete self. There is no part of you that needs to be excluded or denied. Your dreams, whatever they may be, are part of your human experience, neither shameful nor frightening, but simply real, simply yours. Medieval and Renaissance thinkers, for all their differences from us, understood this fundamental acceptance, this willingness to encounter the full range of human experience without flinching. As our journey through this era draws toward its gentle close, we might reflect on what these centuries have shown us. We've seen how Christian thinkers like Augustine and Aquinas work to understand dreams within a framework of divine providence and human nature. We've encountered Renaissance philosophers like Ficino, who saw dreams as moments of the soul's liberation and potential healing. We've glimpsed the various traditions, Jewish mysticism, Islamic scholarship, European court astrology, that all took dreams seriously as meaningful experiences worthy of careful interpretation. We've also begun to see the emergence of more naturalistic explanations, the stirrings of scientific curiosity about the mechanisms of sleep and dreaming. This tension between spiritual and natural explanations, between seeing dreams as messages from beyond and seeing them as products of our own minds, is a creative tension that will continue to evolve in the centuries ahead. But for now, for this moment, we can simply rest in the richness of these medieval and Renaissance perspectives, letting their symbolic thinking, their appreciation for mystery, their willingness to look for meaning in the images of the night settle over us like a soft blanket. Your breathing has become slower now, deeper, more regular. This is the rhythm of rest, the natural preparation for sleep and dreams. You don't need to try to make anything happen. It happens by itself, as it has happened for countless millions of people across the centuries we've been gently exploring. You are part of this vast human story, this long chain of people who have wondered about dreams, who have slept and woken, who have found meaning and mystery in the night. Let the images we've encountered settle softly in your imagination, the stone monastery cells with their single candles burning, the illuminated manuscripts with their gold and jewel tones, the Renaissance studies with their globes and books and astrolabes, the rich tapestries depicting symbolic journeys and transformations. These images are peaceful, beautiful, conducive to rest. They carry the accumulated wisdom of generations, the patient thought of philosophers and mystics who lived centuries ago, but whose insights still speak to us, still offer comfort and understanding. As this portion of our journey comes to its quiet conclusion, know that you have absorbed something valuable, even if you cannot name exactly what it is. Wisdom works on us in subtle ways, not always through conscious understanding, but through a kind of deep recognition, a resonance with truths that we already somehow know. The medieval and Renaissance understanding of dreams as windows to the soul, as symbolic communications, as experiences worthy of reverence and care, this understanding meets something in us that responds, that says yes, that feels the rightness of honoring our dreams and our inner life. We come now to the gentle close of this act, this portion of our long journey through the philosophy of dreams. We have traveled together from the classical world of Aristotle into the medieval monasteries where dreams were prayer's companions, through Renaissance courts where symbols bloomed like gardens of meaning, and into the early modern world where different ways of understanding began to emerge and coexist. It has been a rich passage, full of wisdom and wonder, and now we can rest in what we have gathered. Let it settle into us like nourishment, like rain soaking into earth. The philosophers and thinkers we have met in this act, Augustine with his honest questioning, Aquinas with his careful distinctions, Ficino with his beautiful vision of the soul's ascent, and so many others whose names we have heard or whose thoughts we have brushed against, all of them shared a conviction that dreams matter. They disagreed about the details, about exactly where dreams come from or what they mean, but they agreed that the experience of dreaming is part of what makes us human, part of the mystery of consciousness and soul and being. This conviction, this honoring of dreams, is a gift they offer us across the centuries. In our modern world, we sometimes dismiss dreams as random noise, meaningless firings of neurons, or we become anxious about them, worried about what they might reveal. But these medieval and Renaissance thinkers invite us to a different relationship with our dreams, one of curiosity, respect, even reverence, not credulous or superstitious, but genuinely open to the possibility that our dreams might have something to teach us, some gift to offer, some insight into our own depths. As you rest here now, breathing softly and steadily, you can carry this gift with you into your own sleep tonight. You can trust that whatever you dream will be part of your experience, part of your journey, worthy of the same gentle acceptance you have been practicing during this peaceful exploration. There is no dream too strange, no image too puzzling, no feeling too intense to be held within the compassionate awareness that you are developing, that you are strengthening with each slow breath. The medieval world believed in guardian angels, in spiritual presences that watched over sleeping souls. Whether or not we share that specific belief, we can appreciate the underlying truth it represents, that we are not alone, that we are held by something larger than ourselves. Whether we call it the collective wisdom of humanity, the natural order of things, the universe itself, or the divine presence. As you sleep, you are held by the bed beneath you, by the room around you, by the earth that supports all things, by the long history of human dreaming that we have been gently exploring together. Let your eyes remain closed now, or if they are already closed, let them rest even more completely. No tension anywhere around the eyes or forehead. Let your jaw relax. Let your tongue rest softly in your mouth. Let all the tiny muscles of your face release and soften. This is the face of peace, the face of surrender to rest, the face of trust. The Renaissance painters often depicted sleeping figures in their religious art. Saints receiving visions, the Virgin Mary resting, the apostles sleeping in the Garden of Gethsemane. These images showed sleep as holy, as a natural and necessary part of human existence, not a weakness but a gift. Receive this gift now, this invitation to rest. You have been learning, listening, traveling through time and ideas, and that is work of a kind, good work, meaningful work. But now the work is done for the day, for the night. Now is the time for letting go, for releasing effort, for allowing the natural process of sleep to unfold in its own perfect timing and rhythm. You don't have to make yourself sleep. Sleep comes when we stop trying to stay awake, when we stop trying at all, when we simply allow and accept and rest. The stone walls of the monastery, the rich fabrics of the Renaissance chamber, the candlelight and moonlight and starlight we have imagined together, all of these gentle images remain with you, supporting you, surrounding you with beauty and calm. The philosophers we have met become like kind presences, wise elders who have walked this path before you, who understand the mystery of dreams and sleep, who wish you well on your journey. Augustine and Aquinas, Ficino and Paracelsus, and all the unnamed monks and scholars and dreamers who pondered these questions through the long medieval and Renaissance centuries. They all become part of your support, your lineage, your connection to the great human quest for understanding. And with this support, this accumulated wisdom, this gentle company of thinkers and seekers, you can release yourself completely into sleep. Let go of any remaining thoughts, any lingering concerns. They can wait until morning. Right now, there is only this, the soft darkness, the peaceful quiet, the gentle transition from waking into dreaming, from thinking into simply being. You are safe, you are supported, you are held by wisdom and care. Sleep comes naturally, like nightfall, like the tide, like the turning of seasons. Rest well, peaceful traveler. The philosophers watch over your rest, the wisdom of ages surrounds you, and your dreams, when they come, will be your dreams. Neither to fear nor to force, but simply to experience, and in the morning perhaps to remember and ponder gently. For now only rest, only peace, only sleep. And so we continue our gentle journey, moving forward through time like travelers on a quiet river, drifting from one century to the next. From the medieval world of divine messages and symbolic visions, we float now into a different age, an age that called itself the Age of Reason, though it too had its mysteries, its questions, its profound uncertainties about the nature of what is real and what is dreamed. The 17th century arrives with its mathematics and science, its telescopes and microscopes, its desire to understand the world through logic and evidence. And yet, at the very heart of this rational age, we find a philosopher sitting by a fire, doubting everything, questioning all of reality, wondering whether he might be dreaming at this very moment. His name is René Descartes, and his doubts, his questions, will echo through centuries. Picture him now, if you will. In his warm study, the fire crackling softly, shadows dancing on book-lined walls, Descartes wraps himself in his robe and begins to think, to question, to doubt. How do I know, he wonders, that I am truly awake right now? How can I be certain that what I perceive is real and not a dream? For in dreams, everything seems real while we are dreaming. In dreams, we walk and talk, we feel and think, and we do not suspect that we are merely dreaming. Only upon waking do we realize the illusion. So how, Descartes asks himself in the quietness of his study, how can I ever be certain that I am not dreaming now? This radical doubt, this profound questioning, becomes the foundation of his philosophy. He strips away everything he cannot be absolutely certain of, the evidence of his senses, the reality of his body, the existence of the world around him. All might be illusion, all might be dream. But one thing, he realizes one thing cannot be doubted, the fact that he is thinking, questioning, doubting. Even if he is dreaming, someone or something must be doing the dreaming. And so he arrives at his famous conclusion, words that every philosophy student learns. Cogito, ergo sum. I think, therefore I am. In the midst of universal doubt, in the possibility that all is dream, thought itself becomes the one solid ground. The very act of questioning proves existence. How strange and beautiful that dreams, those nightly illusions, should lead a philosopher to the most fundamental certainty of all, that consciousness exists. This is philosophy as meditation, as deep contemplation, and you can rest peacefully in these thoughts, letting them wash over you gently. Descartes showed that dreams could be tools for philosophical thinking, not threats to truth but pathways toward it. And as you drift deeper into relaxation, you might consider how your own consciousness, your own awareness, is the most intimate and undeniable thing you possess, more certain than any object, any image, any dream. Time passes gently, as it does in dreams, and we move forward a century or so, from France to Germany, from Descartes to another great thinker of consciousness. His name is Immanuel Kant, and while his philosophy grew complex and systematic, at its heart lay a beautiful, profound question: how does the mind construct experience? Kant lived a life of remarkable routine in the city of Königsberg, a life so regular that townspeople could set their clocks by his afternoon walks. And yet within this orderly existence, his mind ranged across vast territories of thought, exploring the nature of space and time, knowledge and reality. For Kant, the mind is not a passive receiver of information, like a blank slate upon which the world writes. Instead, the mind is active, creative, structuring. It shapes raw sensation into meaningful experience through its own inherent forms and categories. Space and time themselves, Kant proposed, are not features of the world as it is in itself, but rather the forms through which human consciousness necessarily experiences everything. And dreams fascinated Kant because in dreams the mind clearly demonstrates its creative power. In sleep, with no external input, the mind generates entire worlds, landscapes and faces, conversations and emotions, all produced from within. This suggested to Kant that even in waking life, our experience is shaped, structured, created by the mind's own activity. We never perceive things as they are in themselves, he argued, but always as they appear to consciousness, filtered through the mind's ordering principles. This is not a cause for worry or anxiety, but rather a profound insight about the nature of being human. Your consciousness, right now, as you listen to these words, is actively constructing your experience of this moment, shaping sound into meaning, creating continuity from separate instants. And in sleep, your mind will continue its creative work, generating dreams from memories, concerns, and the deep structures of consciousness itself. Kant invites us to appreciate this creative power, to respect the mind's remarkable ability to make sense of existence. And as you relax more deeply, you can trust in this power, trust in your mind's natural capacity to organize experience, to create meaning, to dream in its own way. There is something very peaceful about Kant's vision. The idea that consciousness is not helplessly buffeted by external forces, but has its own structure, its own integrity. You are not merely at the mercy of the world. Your mind has its own order, its own forms, and in dreams especially, this inner order reveals itself. Let your thoughts slow now, following their own gentle patterns, their own peaceful rhythms. Let Kant's orderly universe become a comforting presence, everything in its place, everything structured by consciousness, and sleep approaching with the regularity of those famous afternoon walks through Königsberg, predictable, gentle, and utterly reliable. But philosophy, like nature, moves in cycles. After the bright clarity of the age of reason comes something different, something softer and more mysterious. The Romantic movement sweeps through Europe in the late 18th and early 19th centuries, and with it comes a new appreciation for dreams, imagination, and the non-rational aspects of human existence. Where Enlightenment thinkers had emphasized logic and analysis, the Romantics celebrate feeling, intuition, creativity, and dreams become treasured as sources of artistic inspiration rather than puzzles to be solved or illusions to be dismissed. Poets and philosophers alike begin to see dreams as gifts, as glimpses into deeper truths that rational thought alone cannot reach. Samuel Taylor Coleridge, the English poet-philosopher, speaks of dreams and reverie as states in which the imagination flowers most freely. He describes how his famous poem Kubla Khan came to him in an opium-induced dream, appearing fully formed, a gift from the unconscious mind. Though he was interrupted while writing it down and could not recall the rest, what remained became one of the most celebrated poems in English literature. This idea that dreams could be sources of artistic creation, that the sleeping mind might access beauty and insight unavailable to waking consciousness, became central to Romantic thought. The German Romantics especially, thinkers like Novalis and Friedrich Schlegel, portrayed dreams as doorways to the infinite, to the spiritual dimensions of existence. In dreams, they suggested, the soul is freed from the limitations of everyday reason and can experience unity with nature, with the cosmos, with the divine ground of being. Sleep becomes not an absence of consciousness, but a different kind of consciousness, one that is perhaps more authentic, more connected to the sources of creativity and meaning. As you rest now, you can embrace this romantic vision, the idea that sleep is not merely rest but a journey, that dreams are not nonsense but expressions of something deep within you, something creative, something wise. You don't need to analyze or interpret, simply allow the images to come if they come, the feelings to flow if they flow. Trust that your dreaming mind has its own intelligence, its own purposes. The Romantics invite you to honor the mystery rather than dissect it, to appreciate the beauty of the unconscious rather than conquer it. And there is something so restful about this permission to let go of analysis, to stop questioning and simply experience. Let your breathing slow. Let your body sink deeper into comfort. The Romantic philosophers watch over your rest, celebrating the imagination, honoring the dream, welcoming the creative darkness that brings renewal. In this space, you are not a problem to be solved, but a mystery to be honored. Not a machine to be understood, but a living being connected to all of nature, to the trees and stars, to the rhythms of day and night, to the eternal cycles of sleeping and waking. And now, in this moment, it is time for sleep. Natural, welcome, as much a part of you as breathing. Deeper still our journey goes, into the middle of the 19th century, where we encounter two remarkable philosophers who peered into the darkness beneath consciousness and began to map the territory of the unconscious mind. First comes Arthur Schopenhauer, a philosopher often called pessimistic, but whose ideas about dreams and the hidden depths of the psyche were profound and far ahead of his time. Schopenhauer argued that beneath the surface of consciousness, beneath all our rational thoughts and deliberate actions, there lies something much deeper, a vast, blind, striving force he called the will. This will, not conscious or rational but instinctive and powerful, is the true foundation of existence. It drives all living things, the plant reaching towards sunlight, the animal seeking food, the human heart yearning for love. And in dreams, Schopenhauer suggested, we come closer to this deeper reality. In sleep, the rational mind loosens its control, and the will expresses itself more directly through symbols and images. Dreams reveal desires and fears that waking consciousness might suppress or deny. They show us the truth of what we want, what we fear, what drives us beneath all pretense. This might sound troubling, but Schopenhauer's insight is actually quite peaceful when properly understood. He teaches us that we need not identify completely with every conscious thought or worry. Beneath those surface concerns is something larger, deeper, more fundamental. And in accepting this, we can let go. We can release our grip on constant control and allow the deeper currents of being to carry us. In sleep, this happens naturally. The ego relaxes, the will flows according to its own nature, and there is rest in this surrender. Let yourself feel this now. The gentle release of conscious control, the peaceful descent into deeper layers of your own being. Schopenhauer walks with you a little way into this darkness, assuring you that it is natural, that it is where all life comes from, and that there is nothing to fear. And following him comes another guide into the depths. Friedrich Nietzsche, Schopenhauer's great successor and critic. Nietzsche too recognized the power of unconscious forces. He spoke of the dream state as ancient and continuous, suggesting that dreaming is older than wakeful consciousness, more fundamental to who we are. In dreams, he proposed, we return to earlier modes of human existence, to more primitive, more instinctive ways of being. And this is not a weakness, but a source of vitality. For Nietzsche, the unconscious contains not just suppressed desires, but creative power, the raw energy of life itself. He invites us to embrace these deeper forces, to integrate them rather than fear them, to recognize that we are not merely rational beings, but creatures of passion, instinct, and dream. And in this recognition there is freedom, the freedom to be fully human, fully alive, both in waking and in sleep. As you drift now, you carry these insights with you, the understanding that beneath consciousness lies something vast and powerful, and that in sleep you return to this source, not losing yourself but finding a deeper, older, truer self. Let yourself sink into this depth, into the ancient rhythms of existence, into the peaceful darkness where life renews itself. Schopenhauer and Nietzsche stand at the threshold between philosophy and psychology, between the conscious and unconscious, and they gesture forward, pointing the way toward dreams as keys to understanding the hidden dimensions of human nature. And so we have traveled far on this gentle journey through philosophy, from Descartes questioning reality by the fire, to Kant's orderly universe of mind-shaped experience, through the romantic celebration of imagination and mystery, to Schopenhauer and Nietzsche exploring the unconscious depths. Each philosopher has added something to our understanding. Each has illuminated dreams from a different angle, and together they have prepared the ground for what comes next in our story, for the arrival of modern psychology and the revolutionary insights of Freud and Jung. But that is for another time, for another part of our journey. For now, we pause here at the end of the 19th century, at the threshold of a new age. We rest here in this moment of transition, this peaceful pause between one era and the next. All the wisdom you have heard tonight surrounds you now like a gentle, protective presence. Descartes' certainty that consciousness exists, Kant's trust in the mind's creative order, the romantic appreciation for mystery and imagination, Schopenhauer's acceptance of deeper forces, Nietzsche's celebration of life's raw vitality. All these insights settle around you softly, like snow falling in silence. You don't need to remember every detail. You don't need to understand everything. The philosophical journey continues whether you wake or sleep, whether you remember or forget. These ideas have entered your awareness, have touched your understanding, and that is enough, more than enough. Now is the time simply to rest, to let philosophy fade into the background, to allow thoughts to dissolve into the approaching dream. Your breath continues, slow and steady, in and out, like waves on a peaceful shore. Your body has already begun the transition into sleep, releasing tension, softening, settling. And your mind, that remarkable creative power that Kant celebrated, that Descartes discovered at the foundation of all certainty, your mind is preparing now to dream its own dreams, to create its own nocturnal worlds. And you can trust this process completely. Trust it as you trust your breathing, your heartbeat, the turning of the earth. Sleep comes in its own time, gently, naturally, without effort or strain. The philosophers we have met tonight understood this, understood that consciousness flows and changes, that waking and dreaming are both aspects of being human, both valuable, both natural, both deserving of respect. And so you can welcome whatever comes, waking or sleeping, thought or dream, memory or emptiness. All are well, all are peaceful, all are part of the great mystery that philosophy explores but never exhausts. Let the words fade now, let the journey pause, let philosophy become a distant, gentle presence, like stars above a sleeping traveler. You are safe, you are peaceful, you are drifting on the currents of consciousness, flowing naturally toward dreams. And in this flowing there is nothing to fear and nothing to force, only the gentle, inevitable movement into sleep, into rest, into the peaceful darkness where dreams are born. And so we leave you here, in this quiet moment, in this peaceful transition. The philosophers watch over you from the past, the wisdom continues, and you, simply and beautifully, sleep. And now, as you rest here in this peaceful darkness, as the philosophers of the Romantic age fade gently into history, we arrive at a a doorway into the modern understanding of dreams. And here, at the turn of a new century, in the quiet rooms of Vienna, a man sits at his desk, writing, thinking, listening to the stories his patients tell him, listening to their dreams. Sigmund Freud, a name you may know, a presence both revolutionary and comforting in its certainty. He sits in rooms filled with artifacts, ancient sculptures, Egyptian figures, Greek pottery, all watching silently as he writes, as he formulates a theory that will change forever how we understand the sleeping mind. In 1899, though dated 1900 to mark the new century, he publishes a book, The Interpretation of Dreams, a work that begins with a simple, profound assertion that dreams are not random, not meaningless, not merely the result of indigestion or external sounds, but instead, dreams are meaningful, dreams are wishes. And in this gentle assertion, we find something comforting, the idea that even in sleep we are purposeful, that our minds continue to work, continue to seek, continue to desire. Freud sits in his study, the gaslights glowing softly, the city of Vienna quiet beyond his windows, and he writes about his own dreams, about falling down stairs, about traveling on trains, about conversations with people he knows and doesn't know. He analyzes them with the care of a scientist, with the attention of a poet, and slowly, methodically, he reveals a structure beneath the surface, a meaning hidden in symbols. You can rest as you hear this. There is no need to analyze your own dreams now, no need to understand anything, only to listen, to drift, to let these words wash over you like gentle waves. Freud believed that dreams protect our sleep, that they transform wishes that might otherwise wake us, transform them into stories, into images, into the strange, wonderful narratives that unfold behind our closed eyes. A wish to eat becomes a dream of a feast. A wish to be safe becomes a dream of childhood homes. A wish to be loved becomes a dream of embrace. Gentle transformation. Protective distortion, the mind caring for itself even as it rests. And you too are resting now. Your mind caring for you, protecting you, allowing you to simply be here in this peaceful moment, listening, drifting, descending into deeper calm. Freud spoke of the unconscious, a word that sounds like water, unconscious, like sinking beneath the surface of awareness into deeper regions of the mind. The unconscious, he explained, is not simply the absence of consciousness. It is a place, a realm, a vast territory of thoughts and feelings and memories that exist always within us, but hidden, kept from our waking awareness by what he called repression. But in dreams, the unconscious speaks. In dreams, the barriers soften, the gate opens just slightly, and through that opening come symbols, images, stories coded in the language of the unconscious mind. Freud believed that dreams have two layers, the manifest content, what we remember, the surface story, the images of flying or falling or finding ourselves unprepared for an examination, and beneath that, the latent content, the true meaning, the hidden wish, the unconscious desire that the dream disguises and protects. To understand a dream, Freud said, we must learn its language, we must interpret its symbols. A house might represent the self, rooms might be different aspects of personality. Stairs might represent, well, Freud had many ideas about what things might represent, some of them quite specific, some of them reflecting the Victorian era in which he lived. But what matters now, what we can hold on to as we rest, is simply this, that dreams speak in symbols, that they tell us things about ourselves in a language older than words, more fundamental than logic. You need not interpret anything now. You need only rest, only breathe, only allow these ideas to settle softly around you like snow, like gentle, quiet snow falling in Vienna, covering the streets, muffling sound, creating peace. Freud worked with his patients by asking them to free associate, to say whatever came to mind when they thought of a dream image. Following chains of thought like following threads through a labyrinth, back to the source, to the wish, to the hidden meaning. Hours spent in quiet rooms, talking, listening, unraveling, and sometimes what emerged was difficult, painful memories, unacceptable wishes. But sometimes what emerged was simply human, beautifully, ordinarily human. The wish to be safe, to be loved, to be seen, to matter. and these wishes are with you now as you rest. These fundamental human desires that need no analysis, that simply exist, quietly, peacefully, at the core of who you are. You are safe, you are here, you are resting, and all is well. Freud called dreams the royal road to the unconscious. Such a beautiful phrase, the royal road, a path paved and purposeful, leading somewhere important, leading inward. And we can imagine this road now, not as something we must travel, but as something that exists, always there, always available, a gentle path that your mind knows well. You travel it every night, without effort, without intention, simply by closing your eyes, by letting go, by allowing sleep to come, the royal road, and you are on it now, moving gently, slowly, with no destination you must reach, no understanding you must achieve, simply traveling, simply moving through the peaceful landscape of rest. Freud identified certain dreams as typical, dreams that many people share, dreams of flying, of being naked in public, of teeth falling out, of arriving late, of taking an examination for which you're unprepared. These common dreams, he believed, point to common experiences, common anxieties, common wishes. The wish to be free of earthly constraints becomes flight. The fear of exposure becomes nakedness. The anxiety about adequacy becomes the unprepared examination. And perhaps you've had such dreams. Perhaps you recognize them. Or perhaps your dreams are entirely your own, unique as your fingerprints, unique as your voice. Either way is perfect. Either way is exactly as it should be. Your dreams are yours, unfolding in their own language, their own symbols, their own time. Freud also spoke of dream work, the process by which latent content becomes manifest, the mechanisms by which the unconscious disguises its wishes. He identified condensation, many ideas compressed into a single image. Displacement, emotion shifted from one object to another. Symbolism, abstract ideas represented by concrete images. And secondary revision, the way we create narrative coherence when we recall a dream upon waking. But these technical terms can simply wash over you now. They need not be remembered, need not be understood fully. They are simply sounds, gentle sounds, like water flowing over stones, like wind through trees, describing processes that happen naturally, effortlessly, in the depths of your sleeping mind. You need do nothing. You need understand nothing. You need only rest and trust, and allow the royal road to carry you deeper, further into peace. In his quiet way, in his methodical, careful way, Freud listened to dreams for decades. He listened to his patients. He listened to himself. And slowly he built a map of the unconscious, a topology of inner space. He described the id, the deepest layer, the realm of instinct and desire, raw, powerful, present from birth. Then the ego, the conscious self that navigates reality, that negotiates between inner wishes and outer demands. And finally the superego, the internalized voice of culture, of parents, of morality, of should. Three forces, sometimes in harmony, sometimes in conflict. And dreams, Freud believed, emerge from this interplay, from the ego trying to satisfy the id while appeasing the superego, all while protecting sleep. A delicate balance, a nightly negotiation, happening entirely without your conscious awareness. You don't have to balance anything now. You don't have to negotiate anything. You can simply let go. Let all the forces within you settle into their natural equilibrium, into rest, into peace. Freud himself was a complex man, driven and brilliant, sometimes rigid in his theories, sometimes bound by the limitations of his time and culture. But what he gave us, what remains valuable even now, is the simple revolutionary idea that dreams matter, that they mean something, that they connect us to parts of ourselves we might not otherwise know. You can rest in that knowledge, rest in the understanding that even in sleep, especially in sleep, you are connected to yourself, to your deepest self, to the part of you that speaks in symbols and images, that communicates in the ancient language of dreams. Freud's consulting room at Berggasse 19 in Vienna still exists, preserved as it was. The famous couch where patients reclined, the chairs where Freud sat and listened, the artifacts watching from shelves. And we can imagine that room now. Imagine its quietness, its sense of safety, its dedication to listening, to understanding, to taking the contents of the mind seriously. You deserve that same attention, that same careful regard, and you can give it to yourself simply by being here, simply by allowing yourself this time, this space, this gentle journey through ideas and history, through wisdom and rest. The royal road continues, stretches out before you, behind you, beneath you. You are traveling it now, have always been traveling it, will always travel it. It is the road of your own mind, your own inner life, and it leads only to peace, only to rest, only to the deep, renewing darkness of sleep. And so we complete our time with Freud, our gentle exploration of the unconscious, of wishes, of symbols, of the meaningful nature of dreams. We can let these ideas settle now, let them sink down into your own unconscious mind, where they will do whatever work they need to do, or no work at all, simply existing as possibilities, as perspectives, as ways of understanding the mysterious journey you take each night. Freud believed that dreams disguise, that they hide meanings behind symbols, that they protect us from wishes we cannot consciously accept. And whether this is fully true, or partly true, or true sometimes, there is something soothing in the idea, something comforting in the notion that our minds protect us, care for us, work on our behalf even in sleep. Your mind is protecting you now, allowing you to rest, allowing these words to simply flow past, flow through, without needing your attention, without requiring your understanding. You can simply be here, breathing, resting, descending. The unconscious, Freud taught us, is always there, always active, always influencing us in ways we cannot directly perceive. But in dreams it speaks, in dreams it shows itself. In dreams the hidden becomes visible, if only in symbols, if only in the coded language of images and stories. And perhaps tonight, as you sleep, as you finally release your hold on waking consciousness, you will dream. And perhaps your dreams will be vivid or vague, coherent or fragmentary, meaningful or seemingly random. All of it is perfect. All of it is exactly as it should be. All of it is your mind doing what minds do, traveling the royal road, speaking in symbols, connecting you to the vast, deep territory of your inner self. Freud sits in his study, the gaslights burning low, Vienna quiet in the night. And he writes, he listens, he understands, or he tries to understand, which is perhaps all any of us can do. Try to understand, try to listen, try to find meaning in the mysterious, beautiful unfolding of consciousness and unconsciousness, of waking and sleeping, of day and night. And now the night is here, is fully here, and you are ready, ready to release these ideas, ready to release these words, ready to release even Freud himself, letting him fade back into history, into the quiet rooms of Vienna, into the pages of his books. You are ready to move forward, to continue our journey, or ready to stop, to rest here, to let sleep come fully. Either way is perfect. The royal road stretches before you, familiar now, welcoming, and you need only close your eyes, only breathe, only allow yourself to travel it into the unconscious, into dreams, into the deep, restoring, peaceful ocean of sleep. All is well, all is safe, all is exactly as it should be, and you simply and beautifully rest. And now, as you rest so peacefully, we arrive at last at the final chapter of our gentle journey, where Carl Jung awaits with open arms and profound wisdom. Jung, the Swiss physician and psychologist, the mystic and the scientist, the dreamer and the guide. He saw what Freud could not see, felt what others could not feel, understood that dreams were not merely wishes disguised, but messengers from somewhere far deeper, far older, far more mysterious. Jung believed in a vast ocean of shared human experience, a collective unconscious that connects all people across time and space. Can you feel it now, as you drift and float, this connection to something larger, something ancient, something profoundly peaceful? Jung spent his life exploring this inner landscape, traveling deep into the symbols and stories that unite humanity, and in dreams, in those sacred nightly visions, he found doorways to this collective realm, portals to wisdom beyond the personal self, beyond your individual memories, beyond your singular experiences. There exists a deeper layer of mind, filled with universal patterns, timeless images, archetypal forms that have guided humans since the beginning of consciousness itself. The hero, the mother, the wise old man, the shadow, These are not just characters in stories. They are living forces within your psyche, meeting you in dreams, speaking to you in symbols, guiding you toward wholeness, toward what Jung called individuation, the beautiful process of becoming fully yourself. Dreams for Jung were not problems to be solved, but gifts to be received, not codes to crack, but poetry to feel. Each dream image carries meaning like a vessel carries water, and you need not force understanding. Only allow the images to settle gently into your awareness, to resonate with something deep inside. Jung's own dreams guided him throughout his life. One dream in particular changed everything. He found himself descending through layers of a house, from modern rooms down through medieval chambers, then further still to ancient Roman foundations, and finally to a prehistoric cave, where he discovered two human skulls resting in the dust of ages. This dream revealed to him the layers of the psyche, how we contain within us not just our own history, but the history of all humanity, resting peacefully within, waiting to be discovered. As you breathe slowly now in and out, imagine yourself descending gently through these same layers, moving peacefully backward through time, through the modern world, through centuries past, through ancient civilizations, down, 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 to the very bedrock of human consciousness, where universal symbols live and breathe, where the collective unconscious spreads out like a starlit ocean, infinite and welcoming. And here, in this deep and ancient place, you are not alone. You are connected to every dreamer who has ever lived, every person who has gazed at the moon, told stories by firelight, wondered at the mystery of existence. Jung understood this profound connection, and he devoted himself to helping others discover it too, through dream work, through symbol, through the patient, gentle exploration of the inner world. In Jung's understanding, dreams speak in the language of symbols, a language older than words, more primal than logic, more honest than waking thought. Symbols in dreams are not disguises, they are revelations. Each image that appears, whether a tree, a river, a stranger, a door, carries layers of meaning that connect your personal experience with universal human truths. The tree in your dream is your tree, connected to your memories, your associations, your life. But it is also the world tree, the axis connecting heaven and earth, the symbol of growth and rootedness that has appeared in cultures across the globe for thousands upon thousands of years. Both meanings are true, personal and universal existing together, interpenetrating, enriching each other. Jung called these universal patterns archetypes, from the Greek archetypos, meaning original pattern or model. Archetypes are forms that exist in the collective unconscious, templates of human experience that shape our dreams, our stories, our sense of meaning. The Great Mother, nurturing, protecting, nourishing, but also devouring, possessive, overwhelming. Both sides present in the archetype, both light and shadow. The wise old man, the guide who appears in dreams offering counsel. Think of Merlin, of Gandalf, of the countless teachers and mentors in myth and story. This is an archetype rising from the collective unconscious, appearing to you when you need guidance, when your conscious mind seeks wisdom from deeper sources. The hero's journey, perhaps the most powerful archetype of all, the pattern of leaving home, facing trials, descending into darkness, and emerging transformed. This is not just a story structure, it is the structure of psychological growth itself, the journey toward individuation, toward becoming whole. And you, as you rest here so peacefully, you too are on a hero's journey. The journey does not require action or effort right now, only surrender, only rest, only the willingness to descend into sleep as the hero descends into the underworld, trusting that transformation happens in the darkness, in dreams, in rest. The shadow, another archetype Jung explored with great care and compassion. The shadow contains all the parts of yourself you have rejected or denied, the qualities you push away, the feelings you judge, the impulses you suppress. In dreams, the shadow often appears as a frightening figure, a pursuer, an enemy, a dark presence. But Jung understood that the shadow is not evil, it is simply unintegrated. It contains not only rejected negativity, but also rejected potential, hidden gifts, disowned strength. When you meet the shadow in dreams, when you turn toward it rather than fleeing, When you acknowledge and integrate it, you become more whole, more real, more fully yourself. The anima and animus, the inner feminine in men, the inner masculine in women, appearing in dreams as alluring, mysterious figures, calling you toward balance, toward the integration of all aspects of self. These archetypes dance through your dreams like ancient actors on a timeless stage, each one inviting you toward greater wholeness, each one a messenger from the depths. And as you breathe slowly, deeply, peacefully, you can trust that your dreams know what you need, that the archetypes will appear in their own time, in their own way, offering exactly what your soul requires for its journey toward individuation, toward completeness, toward the peaceful integration of all that you are. Jung's own journey into the unconscious was profound and personal. After his break with Freud, Jung entered a period he called his confrontation with the unconscious, a time of intense inner exploration when dreams and visions flooded his awareness. He did not turn away from these experiences. He met them with courage and curiosity, recording them carefully, dialoguing with the figures that appeared, painting, sculpting, and building in response to what he encountered. This was not madness, though at times it felt overwhelming. It was initiation, transformation, the hero's descent that precedes rebirth. During this time, Jung discovered what he called active imagination, a method of engaging with unconscious contents while remaining conscious, allowing images and figures to emerge, and then interacting with them, listening to what they have to say. In active imagination, you might encounter a dream figure again in waking reflection, and ask it questions. What do you want? Why have you appeared? What message do you bring? And if you listen deeply, patiently, openly, the figure may answer, not in your voice but in its own, revealing wisdom you did not consciously know you possessed. This is not fantasy, not mere imagination. It is a dialogue between conscious and unconscious, a bridge between the ego and the deeper self. Jung also worked extensively with his patients' dreams, approaching each dream with reverence and care, never imposing rigid interpretations, always seeking the dream's unique meaning for the individual dreamer. He would ask, "What does this symbol mean to you? What associations arise? What feelings accompany the image?" Through this gentle exploration, meaning would emerge organically, naturally, like flowers opening to sunlight. One of Jung's patients, a rational, intellectual man, dreamed repeatedly of climbing mountains. At the peaks, he would feel exhilarated, powerful, superior to those below. Jung sensed danger in these dreams. They suggested inflation, a dangerous one-sidedness, too much identification with height and superiority. Jung warned him gently to be more grounded, to respect the valleys as well as the peaks. But the man dismissed these cautions, continued his mountain climbing both literally and psychologically, and one day, on an actual mountain, he fell to his death. Jung carried the weight of this tragedy, understanding that dreams can warn us, guide us, protect us, if only we will listen, if only we will heed their wisdom with humility and respect. Dreams are not random, they are purposeful, teleological, Jung would say, meaning they aim toward something, toward balance, toward wholeness, toward the realization of the self. The self, in Jung's psychology, is not the ego, not the small I that thinks and plans and worries. The self is the totality of the psyche, the conscious and unconscious together, the center and the circumference, the organizing principle of your entire being. In dreams, the self often appears as mandalas, those circular, symmetrical forms found in sacred art across cultures. The word mandala comes from Sanskrit meaning circle or center. Jung discovered that his patients spontaneously drew mandalas during times of transformation and healing, and he himself created countless mandalas throughout his life. The mandala represents wholeness, integration, the reconciliation of opposites. When a mandala appears in dreams or in waking creation, it signals movement toward the self, toward psychological and spiritual completion. As you rest now, breathing so softly, so peacefully, perhaps you can imagine your own inner mandala, a circle of perfect balance containing all aspects of yourself, light and shadow, masculine and feminine, rational and intuitive, conscious and unconscious, all held together in harmonious unity. This is your deepest nature, whole, complete, at peace. And sleep, blessed sleep, is a return to this wholeness each night, a dissolution of the ego's boundaries, a merging with the vast unconscious sea. As we move deeper into rest, deeper into the peaceful embrace of sleep, let us consider Jung's most beautiful teaching, individuation, the lifelong journey toward becoming who you truly are. Individuation is not about perfection, not about becoming someone else or achieving some external standard. It is about becoming yourself, fully, authentically, completely. It is the process of integrating all the scattered parts, acknowledging all the rejected pieces, embracing both light and darkness within, and allowing the self to emerge as the center and guide of your life. Dreams are the primary way the unconscious supports this process. Each dream is a small step on the path, a gentle nudge, a symbolic message, a compensatory image that balances your one-sided conscious attitude. If you are too rational in waking life, your dreams may bring overwhelming emotion. If you are too passive, your dreams may show you acting with strength and courage. The unconscious always seeks balance, always moves toward wholeness, like water finding its level, like nature restoring equilibrium. You need not force this process. You need not figure it all out. The individuation journey unfolds naturally when you simply pay attention, when you honor your dreams, when you remain open to the messages from within. Jung wrote that individuation requires differentiating yourself from the collective, from the expectations and assumptions of culture, family, society, not in rebellion, but in honest self-discovery. Who are you beneath the roles you play? What is your unique path? What does your soul truly seek? These questions cannot be answered by the rational mind alone. They emerge through dreams, through symbols, through the patient, loving attention to your inner life. And so Jung encourages you, even now as you rest, to trust the process unfolding within, to know that your psyche is working even in sleep, especially in sleep, weaving together experiences, processing emotions, balancing extremes, guiding you toward your unique wholeness. In his later years, Jung lived in a tower he built with his own hands beside Lake Zurich, a place of solitude and reflection. There he worked with stone, with words, with images, continuing his conversation with the unconscious until the very end of his life. He wrote, he painted, he carved, always listening to the voice within, always honoring the symbols that arose, always trusting the wisdom of the deeper self. His final years were peaceful, suffused with a sense of meaning and completion. He had traveled the path he was meant to travel, integrated what he was meant to integrate, become who he was meant to become. Not perfect, but whole, not finished, but authentic. And this same possibility lives in you, right now, as you breathe and rest and allow yourself to simply be. You are on your own journey of individuation, even if you're not consciously aware of it, even if you have never heard these words before. The archetypes are at work within you. The self is calling you toward wholeness. The collective unconscious connects you to all that is, and your dreams, your sacred, precious nightly dreams, are the messengers, the guides, the gentle companions on this most important journey. Jung believed that the second half of life is particularly important for individuation, a time to turn inward, to reflect, to gather wisdom, to integrate all you have experienced, to prepare for the final transition. But individuation can begin at any age, in any moment, whenever you choose to listen, to pay attention, to honor the depths. And sleep, beautiful, necessary, healing sleep, is where so much of this work happens, where the unconscious rises to meet you, where symbols speak, where the self sends its messages of guidance and love. So rest now, rest deeply, knowing that your psyche knows what to do, knows how to guide you, knows the way toward your own unique wholeness. Trust the dreams that come, trust the images that arise, trust the ancient wisdom moving through you. You are held, you are guided, you are never alone on this journey. The collective unconscious supports you, the archetypes surround you, and the self, your deepest, truest self, is always calling you home. Home to yourself, home to wholeness, home to the peace that surpasses understanding. And so, we arrive at the end of our journey, though endings are really only thresholds, doorways to new beginnings. From Aristotle to Jung, from ancient Greece to modern Switzerland, from rational explanation to mystical integration, we have traveled together through centuries of wisdom, centuries of wondering, centuries of humans trying to understand the mystery of dreams. And what have we learned? What can we carry with us into sleep, into our own dreams, into the vast and welcoming night? We have learned that dreams are meaningful, whether we see them as echoes of waking life, as messages from the divine, as windows to the unconscious, or as gifts from the collective soul of humanity. We have learned that philosophers and thinkers across time have honored dreams, studied them, been changed by them. We have learned that sleep is not empty, not a void, but a rich and fertile landscape where the deepest parts of ourselves come out to speak, to play, to heal, to integrate. And most of all, we have learned that we can trust the wisdom of the psyche, trust the process of dreaming, trust the nightly journey into darkness and return to light. Jung's final gift to us is this trust, this deep, abiding faith in the purposefulness of the unconscious, in the healing power of dreams, in the journey toward wholeness that continues whether we understand it or not. You need not analyze every dream, need not remember every symbol, need not understand every message. You need only be willing to sleep, willing to dream, willing to allow the unconscious its voice, its space, its sacred work. And so now, as your breathing slows, as your body grows heavier and more relaxed, as your mind softens and releases its grip on waking concerns, allow yourself to cross the threshold, to pass gently from philosophy into experience, from thinking about dreams into dreaming. The archetypes are waiting, patient, eternal, loving. The self is ready to guide you. The collective unconscious spreads out like a starlit ocean, infinite, safe, welcoming. You belong here. You have always belonged here, in this space between waking and sleeping, this liminal realm where symbols speak and wisdom flows. Let the philosophers rest now, Aristotle in his Greek garden, Augustine in his monastery, Descartes with his meditations, Freud in his Vienna study, Jung beside his lake. All of them are quiet now, their work complete, their words spoken, their wisdom offered. And you are free to simply rest, to simply breathe, to simply allow yourself to drift deeper and deeper into the warm, dark, safe embrace of sleep. No more questions, no more seeking, no more effort. Only this gentle letting go, this sweet surrender, this peaceful journey into dreams, where mandalas turn slowly in inner space, where archetypes move like kind guardians through the darkness, where the self holds you in perfect wholeness, in complete acceptance, in infinite peace. All is well. All has always been well. All will always be well. The philosophers knew this, each in their own way, and now you know it too. Sleep now. Dream now. Rest in the ancient wisdom, rest in the collective unconscious, rest in your own deep, true, beautiful self. The journey is complete, and the journey is just beginning. And in this paradox, in this mystery, in this sacred space where opposites unite, you are home, forever home, safe, whole, at peace. Let go, let go, let go, and dream, dream, dream. The philosophers whisper their blessings as you slip away. Aristotle speaks of natural rest, Augustine of divine love, Descartes of essential being, Freud of deep wishes fulfilled, and Jung smiles with infinite compassion and says simply, trust the dreams, trust the process, trust yourself, and you do, you trust, you release. You surrender completely into sleep, into dreams, into the infinite loving, healing darkness. Good night, sleep well, dream beautifully. All is well, all is well, all is well. Thank you for listening tonight. If this story helped you drift off, consider leaving a like and subscribing for more calming stories. Sweet dreams, and I'll see you next time.